UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon has said Syria's government and opposition will for the first time attend peace talks in Geneva on 22nd of January. A fresh date for talks aimed at bringing an end to the ongoing conflict in Syria has been set for 22nd of January. It is unclear who will attend and there is no mention of whether Iran will be invited. UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon expects regional and international partners to fully support the Geneva II peace moves. Geneva II will seek the formation of a transitional government with full executive powers based on mutual consent. Meanwhile, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Gennady Gatilov said Iran should take part in the Geneva talks, but there was no any final agreement on that issue, Russia's Interfax news agency reports. PYD had already declared that they would like to participate to negotiations on the Kurdish Supreme Council. PYD co-chair Salih Muslim underlined that they will not participate to negotiations under Syrian National Coalition. On 22nd of November held a conference which was organized on the initiative of the Kurdish Institute in Brussels. Many known political and media figures joined the conference on what is the future of the Kurdish regions in Syria. We participated and put our questions to the PYD co-chair Mr. Salih Muslim. On our TV, Mr. Muslim explained their political position and attitude to the Geneva II conference.
Because we are benefiting from the historical experience. I mean, in Lausanne, the Kurdish people, they were joined the Lausanne Agreement and Lausanne Conference inside the Turkish delegation. They couldn't get anything. And then the Kurdish man who joined this this conference, anyway, he said, you have to bury me on the road because I want everybody to see what I have done, because he felt that he has cheated his people. We don't like to be like him. We don't like to be like him. Yes.
Mr. Muslim also gave us the recent political reflections of the neighbors of Rojava after the declaration of the Constitutive General Council for the interim administration in Al-Qamishlo.
Ruling ourselves, I mean, just for our matters, for our daily needs, for our planning. I mean, if we are organizing ourselves, it's our right. And especially, I mean, we have some other organizations, they have organized, I mean, established the same. I mean, in Raqqa, for example, Islamic Emirates, nobody said anything about it. And also in Al-Bab, in Aleppo, nobody talked any word about it. Because the Kurdish, why is everybody is against it? So it's unfair, we don't accept it. And if they come to see, and because I've discussed some people, I discussed the Turkish people. I said, this is the reason, and what we are going to do is so and so. They said, okay, you're right. And at the end, for political reasons, they say no. You're welcome.
We also had another interview with the co-chair of the Rojava People's Assembly, Mrs. Sinem Mohammed. She told us the ideas and tasks of the Constitutive General Council for the interim administration.
This democratic administration in Syria and in Rojava, Kurdistan, it's really an important step. It is our system is to make the democracy in the Rojava, in the Western Kurdistan, and our system is built on the democracy that means to share everybody who is living in Western Kurdistan, the Arabs, the Syrian, Ashurians, everybody living with us in our region. We have joint administration. So this joint administration really enrich the administration and make everybody share, and that everybody has his rights to rule and to be representative in our Western Kurdistan.
Peace and Democracy Party co-chair Selahattin Demirtas spoke to reporters about the visit of Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Kurdistan Regional Government President Masud Barzani in the capital of North Kurdistan, Ahmed, last weekend. Demirtaş said that the Amer visit gave no messages concerning the language, identity and self-governance of Kurds. He repeated that the Prime Minister had said, "Mountains and jails shall be emptied." It could be seen as a warm message to the Kurdish people, but in fact, what Kurdish people want is the practice of concrete steps building a permanent peace. Demirtaş said, "It seems this visit took place because of the deadlock Turkey is facing today in relation to regional developments and with an intention to overcome the obstacles it is facing in its foreign policy." Turkey's harsh attitude towards Rojava in West Kurdistan, which aims to suppress the achievements of the people there, has once again been strengthened during the Diyarbakir visit. Demirtaş noted that the people of Diyarbakir had just watched the events without feeling any passion or excitement and do not consider the Prime Minister's messages to be having a positive effect in clearing the way for the advancement of the process. Answering questions on the expected involvement of new delegations and journalists to the BDP-HDP delegations paying visits to Kurdish leader Abdullah Öcalan in İmralı prison, Demirtaş said that the government should take steps to ensure Öcalan's contact with civil delegations and journalists in addition to the present political delegation, as is demanded by Öcalan himself and is supported by the BDP as well. This is a delayed step that would not go against the laws. I expect to witness such a development in the coming weeks. This could be a delegation of wise people, individuals, and maybe journalists after that. Should this delegation directly convey Mr. Öcalan's messages to the public, this step would not only contribute to the process, but it could also help the process to overcome the deadlock it is facing now.
November 25th is International Day chosen to highlight gender-based violence against women. With this purpose, hundreds of women from Turkey, Kurdistan and Europe staged a march and protested about violence against women. Statements were released which condemned violence, rape and harassment against women, female circumcision and forced marriages. The statements of activities emphasized the struggle of women against patriarchal system in both the political and social areas. With this purpose, the Kurdish Women's Movement, the Kurdish Communities Union and the Kurdistan Women's Liberation Party presented written statements to point out the significance of the International Day. The Human Rights Association IHD Diyarbakir branch also released a report on violence against women in the Kurdish region. According to this report, 48 women died as a result of violence in the Kurdish region during the year 2013. The IHD report reported that most women are victims of violence within domestic walls, i.e. within an environment, their home, which they feel should be a safe place. In the IHD report, which collected data for the first 10 months of this year, 48 women were reported as killed, while 58 were exposed to different kinds of violence. Here are the details of the figures. 28 women died as a result of domestic violence. 11 were injured and or suffered violence. 1 was harassed. In the social environment, 12 women were killed. 12 injured and or suffered violence. 1 was raped, 4 harassed. 26 women committed suicide, while 10 attempted suicide but were saved. 6 deaths are considered suspicious by the report, while 2 deaths are attributed to so-called honor killing. Security forces were responsible for 16 cases of violence against women and 3 cases of harassment. Erdogan and Barzani cooperating against the Rojava revolution. Journalist Ferda Çetin wrote about the meeting of Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan and the Kurdistan Regional Government President Mesut Barzani in Ahmet, North Kurdistan. Journalist Ferda Çetin pointed out the political brotherhood of Erdogan, AKP and Barzani's KDP. Here is a brief summary of his article. The AKP and KDP are 2 brothers who take the same line on the subjects of statism, sexuality, family values and property. Both parties can be understood as having entered into the spirit of history as cogs in the wheel of capitalist hegemony relying on the imperialist powers. All of those who are not political or lack emotions know that Barzani and the KDP's support for Erdogan and the AKP is hardly an abnormal outcome. The Barzani-Erdogan meeting is nothing more than a turn towards cooperating over practical policy by followers of two close ideologies. The AKP and KDP are uncomfortable with the effect the PKK has over the Kurdish people and with the Öcalan's leadership, which has been accepted by Kurdish people. The current interest that made Barzani and Erdogan meet in Diyarbakir is hostility to the Rojava revolution and PYD. It is the popularity of Saleh Muslim which grows every day along with his representational quality as well as acceptance of his legitimacy. The KDP and Barzani are anxious over the resistance of the YPG and troubled about the success of the PYD leadership. When Barzani said before his visit to Diyarbakir there is no revolution in Rojava, the PYD is cooperating with the Assad regime, it was a reaction to the undeniable success of the Rojava revolution, which from the Barzani and the KDP's perspective has become intolerable. It was a reaction to clear victory that the YPG have won over Al-Qaeda, the ISIS and the FSA.